The quiet alliance shift, a world that might not need America. For more than 70 years, the global order has revolved around one central power, the United States. Its closest allies, Britain, Canada, Australia, and other Western democracies, built their security, trade, and intelligence networks around Washington. But today, something unusual is happening. For the first time in decades, many of these same allies are quietly exploring a future that may not depend on the United States. And it's not happening in secret. It's happening in conferences, trade negotiations, and diplomatic meetings across the world. One of the clearest signals came in January 2026, at the World Economic Forum in Davos. When former Bank of England and Bank of Canada Governor Mark Carney stepped onto the stage, many expected the usual diplomatic optimism. But instead, Carney delivered a warning. He said the rules-based international order that has guided global cooperation for decades is facing a serious rupture. According to him, the traditional bargain, where the United States provides stability and security while allies cooperate economically, is no longer functioning the way it once did. And that message is now echoing across many capitals. At the center of this shift is an ambitious economic idea, connecting two major trade frameworks, the European Union and the CPTPP. The CPTPP, or Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, includes countries such as Canada, Japan, Australia, the United Kingdom, Singapore, Vietnam, and Mexico. If these nations deepen their economic integration with the European Union, the result could be one of the largest trade networks in modern history. We are talking about a potential market of more than 1.5 billion people and a trading system that covers over a third of global commerce. What makes this development remarkable is that the United States is not part of it. In this emerging framework, supply chains could stretch across Canada, Japan, Europe, and Southeast Asia. Products could be manufactured using components from multiple countries and move across the network with minimal tariffs. This system relies heavily on something called rules of origin, trade regulations that determine where a product is officially made. If these rules are aligned between the EU and CPTPP members, companies could build complex supply chains entirely within this alliance. In theory, cars, electronics, pharmaceuticals, and industrial components could all be produced and traded across this network without relying on American markets or institutions. For many policymakers, the goal is not necessarily to exclude the United States. Instead, it is about building resilience, making sure global trade can continue even if political tensions rise. At the same time, diplomatic signals are shifting. The United Kingdom has recently strengthened its economic dialogue with China, seeking new markets and investment opportunities. Canada has also explored trade discussions and investment partnerships with multiple regions, including Asia and the Middle East. These moves reflect a broader strategy, diversifying partnerships so that no single relationship becomes overwhelmingly dominant. Meanwhile, discussions around the CANZUK concept. A closer partnership between Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom have gained renewed attention. Supporters believe such an alliance could deepen trade, mobility, and cooperation among these countries. Public opinion polls in Canada and Australia have shown growing interest in this idea. Another dimension of this conversation involves the famous Five Eyes Intelligence Alliance, one of the most integrated intelligence networks in history. The United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand share sensitive intelligence information at an extraordinary level of trust. But like any alliance, its strength depends on political confidence between members. If geopolitical tensions increase or trust weakens, even the most powerful partnerships can face strain. Economists also warn that major changes in trade patterns could influence global financial systems. The US dollar still dominates global reserves and international trade. However, some emerging trade agreements are experimenting with transactions in other currencies such as euros, pounds, yen, or Canadian dollars. Over time, such diversification could gradually reduce reliance on a single currency. For ordinary people, these shifts may sound abstract, but they can have real consequences. Changes in global supply chains can affect manufacturing jobs, investment flows, and even the prices of everyday goods. If countries begin sourcing materials and components from new partners, some industries gain new opportunities while others face stronger competition. History offers a similar example. In 2018, when the United